From Southwest Florida's news leader, this is Wink News Now at 6.
It's an instinctive decision that he made, and he had to make it in a fraction of a second.
He had two options: stand still or dive in head first. It's a decision that saved the officer's life, and we have the incredible video.
Spending money on glossy trash is something that shouldn't be a priority.
New at 6 tonight, mixed in with the junk mail, political ads. They may come easily, but they don't come cheap, and you're paying for them. We investigate the cost of franking.
Don't wait until the text spam is getting so frequent, or worse, it's starting to transmit viruses.
And we're helping you put a stop to text spam. New at 6, a Wink News investigation you can't afford to miss.
Very dry along the coast and not much rain inland, but watch what happens when I get out of the way. Just a couple around the lake. Been watching these track to the southeast this afternoon. These are already well east of LaBelle, and we've had some rain around Moorhaven and Clewiston. Shouldn't last much longer. Clewiston, I know you've got some just to the north, and these will be moving over the southern half of Lake Okeechobee. But there is still some rain in the forecast for tomorrow into the weekend. I'll be back with details.
All right, Jim, thanks. Breaking at 6 o'clock, accused killer Brian Casey, no stranger to controversy, within the last hour, hauled out of a Lee County courtroom moments after hitting his 7th attorney.
Anjali Lone has been following the chaotic day in court, and she joins us live at 6 from the courthouse.
Well, witnesses inside the courtroom at the time say in a violent outburst, Brian Casey punched his own attorney in the face in front of a room full of jurors. Now, deputies apparently had him pinned to the ground in a matter of moments and swiftly escorted him outside of the courtroom. Now, this is just the latest bizarre twist in this murder trial. Brian Casey, who has no formal legal training, is representing himself on second-degree murder charges. Today, he tried to discredit his own taped confession. A relaxed Brian Casey spoke candidly to detectives in this November 2010 taped confession. He described a tense business relationship that led up to phone book ad salesman Ryan Vanderson's murder.
You reach a point where you just get fed up with people, you know?
Casey says Vanderson pressured him to buy ad space for his failing business. He says he was fed up and set up an appointment at Vanderson's home with an ulterior motive. Casey later admitted to ordering Vanderson to kneel down just before he shot him in the head, execution style.
Did he say anything else, Ryan? He prayed.
During the tape, Casey detailed to detectives how he tried to cover up the crime.
Bleach, it's an accelerant, and it also drives you crime scene guys crazy.
He later admitted to setting Vanderson's body on fire. But today, Casey tried to dispel his own confession.
Did I tell you that I was suffering from alcohol and drug withdrawal?
You made comments like that, yes, sir.
Did I ask you to be placed in a rehabilitation before going to jail?
Casey also attempted to introduce evidence and testimony that would give him grounds for a mistrial.
Do not go there again, or I will end the cross-examination. All right, Mr. Casey. Mr. Casey.
Now, the judge on this case is holding a special hearing first thing tomorrow morning to decide how to proceed with this trial. We'll be there and bring you the latest information. Live at the Lee County Courthouse, Anjali Lone, Wink News Now.
Anjali, Mr. Casey's asked for many mistrials. You have to wonder if doing this in front of his jury, attacking his own attorney, is going to cause a mistrial.
Well, Lois, that was a lot of the chatter inside the courtrooms right after that happened. He has been asking for a mistrial, trying to introduce evidence and different testimony, trying to get that mistrial. The judge has been trying to avoid that throughout these past 2 days, but we'll see what exactly he's going to decide first thing tomorrow morning at that hearing at 8:30.
All right. Thank you very much, Anjali.
Developing at 6 o'clock now, a Lee County deputy recovering from a gunshot wound. Now one suspect is dead, another one caught, but a third one still on the run.
The shootout between the deputy and the men happened last night and started with a chase through Lee County, beginning in North Fort Myers on I-75, ending minutes later at Cemetery and Stratton Roads in Lehigh Acres. And tonight the search is still on. Senior reporter Mike Walcher joins us live from where the shootout happened and the third suspect was last seen.
Well, crime scene investigators returned here this afternoon. They were looking for evidence, possibly including bullet casings. We are at Cemetery and Stratton. This is the vacant lot where the deputy was wounded in one of his hands and the suspect killed.
And we heard a couple of repeat shots going on out here. Of course, we came out to see, didn't hear anything, and then the next thing we know, we heard sirens going.
Stuart Fanjoy was working in his garage when the shooting occurred not far away from his home. It happened at Cemetery and Stratton. We saw at least 11 evidence markers here, some maybe from shell casings. This is a vacant lot where the car crashed after a pursuit by a deputy. The driver and 2 passengers jumped out of the car. The officer confronted the driver.
During that altercation, shots rang out, and of course the deputy ended up injured, and the suspect was killed there.
A sheriff's canine cornered one passenger, Greg Coleman of Lehigh Acres. He's charged with resisting arrest. Another man got away. That's when deputies warned Fanjoy and other neighbors.
They finally came by and asked us to, get inside to make sure we weren't in any harm's way or anything like that.
How'd you feel about that?
I wasn't really scared because there was too many of the police out here.
The sheriff's office won't say if the driver who was killed had a weapon. It also won't say whether the deputy followed procedures.
We have to thoroughly investigate and determine what took place. A number of interviews take place in order to ascertain those facts. This truly is an illustration of how unroutine our job is.
The second passenger in the car got away last evening. Deputies tell us they are looking for a man. He was last seen wearing black pants. They say he has dreadlocks. That's the only description they have for him. They do not consider him to be a threat to the safety of the people who live in this area. Live in Lehigh Acres, I'm Mike Walcher, Wink News Now.
Mike, thank you. New details at 6 from investigators working a case of human remains. They say they've ID'd the remains found last night near the Lee and Collier County line, right in the woods near Old 41 and Channel 30 Drive. The Lee County Sheriff's Office spent much of today combing that area for evidence after a man walking his dog discovered the decomposing body yesterday. Investigators believe the remains belong to a homeless man. The man's family members were at the scene speaking to investigators today.
We believe we know who he is, but the identification is pending forensic comparison. So the process here is just like any other death investigation. The medical examiner will remove the remains and an autopsy will be conducted to determine the cause of death.
Investigators have not yet determined how long the body was there, but based on its condition, they don't think it's a recent death, and they do not suspect foul play.
Caught on camera at 6, a high-speed struggle between a runaway suspect and a Fort Myers police officer.
Dashcam video catches a suspect on the run and taking a Fort Myers police officer with him.
That suspect was being arrested for an outstanding warrant, but made it obvious he was not going without a fight. Robert Burns has a video that has had a cop in fear for his life.
Go on, step up. Step out.
Tire marks were left behind after a suspect tried to speed off with a Fort Myers police officer hanging from his steering wheel.
It's an instinctive decision that he made, and he had to make it in a fraction of a second.
This all happened Tuesday night when the cops responded to a suspicious vehicle near the intersection of Evans Avenue and Market Street. The 21-year-old suspect, Keith White, was being arrested on an outstanding warrant, but then take a closer look. When the officer tries to get him out of the car, he peels off with the officer's legs left trying to keep up.
He has a choice to make. Take a chance on getting run over by the vehicle or get inside the vehicle. He chose to get in the vehicle and attempt to stop it.
A backup officer chased behind as the car, which drives 1 block before the kidnapped cop was able to get control of the vehicle and take the keys.
I think the officer did a good job in doing what he did. He was able to get control of the vehicle away from the driver and get the vehicle stopped.
The officers weren't injured, but police say that split decision may have saved their lives.
Had the officer become disengaged and pulled underneath the vehicle, he would have been ran over and quite possibly dragged.
In Fort Myers, Robert Burns, Wink News Now.
Well, that suspect remains in jail tonight. We've also learned he had a handful of warrants out for his arrest before this.
New at 6 tonight, 3 more people have been arrested in connection to a fake check scam that wiped out thousands of dollars from the Lee County School District. Diana Thayer, Rashonda Franklin, and Ebony Powell are accused of cashing bogus checks totaling more than $5,000 at local Walmart stores. Yesterday, Lee County School Board member Don Armstrong railed against those who steal from schools on the heels of a similar arrest.
Somebody went through a lot of trouble, but it's very discouraging because you're stealing from the kids.
The checks are very authentic. What they're basically doing is using rounding numbers that are associated with a original check.
The first arrest in the fake case came yesterday. Fake check case, came yesterday. Tina Groff arrested for cashing a phony $1,800 check.
New at 6, if you're a registered voter, you've likely seen pesky political flyers showing up in your mailbox. The ads have a name and a hefty price tag. Rachel Raffanelli explains franking and what it's costing you.
Lois, franking is where members of Congress send out mass mailings in the form of glossy flyers. Now, the rules say the flyers can't be overly political and can't go outside the Congress member's district. Now, the practice cost $31.1 million last year alone, and that's your money. You've probably seen glossy flyers like these and tossed them out. Fort Myers resident Christian Fox had never heard of the term franking until today, but even so,
it doesn't interest me. I didn't ask for it.
He's seen the flyers.
Spending money on glossy trash is something that shouldn't be a priority.
You see so much of it, sometimes you just let it go, you know.
And that money is coming out of your wallet. The term franking dates back to colonial days, where members of Congress used free mailers called francs, taken from the Latin word for free. Today, each member can use taxpayer money to keep constituents informed through mass communication. That's different from using money raised from campaigns, although the flyers may look very similar.
For the average person, it seems like it's just campaign literature. They can get their message out without having to declare it as a campaign expenditure.
The biggest spender in Florida, Congressman Vern Buchanan, who represents a part of Charlotte County, he spent about $250,000 on them. He spoke about this in an interview earlier this week.
You have 200,000 people in my district, close to that. They're 65 and older. And I agree with you, it's all changing from somewhat mail to email, but not quite as quick here, maybe as other parts of the country.
And now Congressman Connie Mack's office has sent this letter, an apology to the Franking Commission, saying his vendor unintentionally sent flyers outside of his own district. And this is a letter we got today from the Franking Commission saying it accepts Connie Mack's apology and will take no action. Now, one voter told me franking has been happening for years, and whether we like it or not, he believes it won't be going away anytime soon. Live in the newsroom, Rachel Raffanelli, Wink News Now.
Since this cold front is weak, it's just going to hang around for a while. I'll tell you how that will affect our weekend weather coming up.
Text spam is a lot more prevalent than most people think. Really, it's kind of like junk mail.
Junk mail for your phone is how a lot of people are looking at text spam. But unlike those pieces of junk mail clogging your mailbox, text spam ends up costing you money. Tonight, a Wink News investigation reveals how you can put a stop to it.